Hey gang, Professor Feeser here, and in today's video, we're studying for the CertNexus Generative AI Biz certification. This is a cert you go after when you're ready to show the world you know something about the AI revolution that's going on around us. That is to say, you can clock in to ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. You can keep up with the keywords that are being thrown around in meetings surrounding AI. You also understand the benefits as well as the limitations of what these platforms have to offer. Now, this particular certification gives you about 50 questions in a multiple choice format. So what I did is grabbed about 10 of those questions, rewrote them. We're going to go through those questions. We're going to talk about why answers are right and why answers are wrong. If you're unsure about the discussion that I present, just put down in the comments why you think one answer might be more correct than another one. I'll happily get back to you. If this does help you study, or even better, helps you pass, give me a thumbs up and I'll be sure to record some future videos on passing this particular certification. All right, with that, let's get studying. Okay, gang, our first question: how could you separate instructions from data you want parsed? So imagine you have a prompt, you have a set of instructions, and then you're dropping some data in below that. A, delimiters. B, emojis. C, lots of emojis. D, validate the input. Now, I would say the best answer, there's plenty of answers here, but certainly the best answer is going to be delimiters. A delimiter could be emojis. Delimiters can be anything. They could be octothorpes or hash signs. They could be dashes. They could be, the best is ticks. 3 ticks typically to start, 3 ticks to end is considered, how we quote, at least code, but input it would work as well. You can be creative, just use like the word start, put it in like angle brackets, use the word end to show end. The AI will figure it out when it parses your data, but those are called delimiters. Whatever you use as a separator is called the delimiter. You need some code generated. Which is the best prompt? So these are all very short prompts, but which one would be the best? A, write RPG, exe, in Python. B, create a text-based RPG. C, use Python to create a simple text-based RPG. Or D, write code that lets a user play as a fantasy hero. I think here C, use Python to create a simple text-based RPG would be the best. We're talking about code, so giving the direction of a language makes sense. And then also what we want to do with that code. Now, certainly a well-crafted prompt will have a lot more detail than just this, but C compared to the other ones is the most clear. Suppose you rented an LLM as a service. How would you connect your application to your LLM as a service? Java, A, Java. B, Python. C, AMQP. Or D, an API serviced by HTTP. Well, absolutely, D is the best answer here, an API service by HTTP. Java and Python are languages. AMQP is a way to push messages around between applications. So D is absolutely the best answer there. And that's standard. I mean, that's RESTful APIs are pretty standard in the information exchange. Which of the following demonstrates bias? Which of the following demonstrates bias? A, always showing a man when drawing pictures of a doctor. B, cloning artwork without permission. C, taking too long to respond. D, refusing to provide an answer due to a lack of confidence. Well, in this case, A would be the correct answer. It's testing your word of bias, and bias is effectively lack of diversity. It's typically hard to detect because it's the result of training bias. And it's on the forefront of a lot of research right now, not only how to prevent it in training, but also how to detect it. B is possibly just illegal. C is a failure in your service. D, it would actually maybe be refreshing. I mean, we talk about hallucinating or just AI making stuff up when it's not certain rather than saying, I don't know. Which of the following is not generative AI? A, writing a readme.markdown in GitHub. B, summarizing a Zoom call. C, code that makes a robot fold cardboard boxes in an assembly line. Or D, providing several alternative endings for a short story. Well, in this case, C is just demonstrating automation. That's not really generative AI. Generative AI means making stuff up. So A, B, and D are all actually examples of Gen AI. What is most often associated with text generation? A, Decepticons. B, Autobots. C, generative pre-trained transformers, GPT. Or D, text orb generators. Well, C is the best answer here. There are some other ways to generate text, but Decepticons and Autobots would not be them. That's from the Transformers series. And text orb generators is just something I made up. So by elimination or just by understanding, that's what GPT is. Gen AI is pretty much based on GPT models. Why is it important to keep humans in the loop? Well, do you understand this buzz term, humans in the loop? A, trick question. The goal is to remove humans from the process. B, auditing AI tools helps ensure quality and continued usability. C, for reproducibility. Or D, to ensure models match client API calls. The best answer here is B. That term, humans in the loop, means that we're constantly checking output, going back and retraining, making the models better when they don't match a use case or aren't giving a desired output anymore. A, no, we don't want to get humans out of the loop. AI produce it, garbage in, garbage out is true for AI models as well. There's always got to be humans providing feedback. Reproducibility, no. That's just a red herring. I'm not sure how that would even apply. To ensure models match client API calls, that's not terrible, honestly. You could argue that the reason the AI exists is to match a use case. So if you wanted to argue here, maybe, well, the client API call is the use case, right? If the model can't respond to the data I'm after or the service I'm after, what good's the model? But that said, B is still definitely the best answer. What's another way to describe an LLM with 200 billion connection weights? A, capable of 200 billion answers. B, trained on 200 billion tokens. C, 200 billion parameters. D, 200 billion layers. This is really a tricky question. I mean, you have to know something about AI to get this one correct. Capable of 200 billion answers? Nope. When we describe AI models, we don't talk about the number of answers they can give. Trained on 200 billion tokens. A token is what's ultimately processed. So like a word would be considered a token. 200 billion parameters, that would be the correct one. 200 billion layers, no, you'd have much fewer layers than that. A layer is a series of nodes that point to another series of nodes through connections that are weighted, have weighting to them or preference added to them. Typically, we talk about, say, the input layer, and that's be like the first layer, and the output layer being the last one. The other ones we typically call hidden layers, and that speaks to some of that black box syndrome where we don't know what's happening on the inside. It's just neurons pointing to the next layer of neurons. C is the best answer. The parameters are the ultimately training weights and biases that we place in an LLM to help it ultimately make decisions. It's how it relates, how a neuron relates to another neuron. AI is often described as a black box. Why is this an issue for enterprise? Oh, just mentioned this. The API is undefined, A. B, too often money is being thrown into bottomless AI pits. C, AI often scrapes data from the user without them knowing. Or D, unclear how it arrived at that answer. I sort of implied this in the last one. It's D, unclear how it arrived at that answer. A is the AI API is undefined. That's just, it's be a lack of, I don't know how to use this tool. B, too often money is being thrown in bottomless AI pits. Well, that may be true, but it doesn't have anything to do with when we talk about black box syndrome as applied to AI. C, I don't know. I don't think that's a true use case. When you go to ChatGPT, it doesn't scrape your desktop for data. What does generative AI mean for your future? A, thoughtless AI churn. B, little to no change. C, learning how to use generative AI leading to enhanced productivity. Or D, unemployment. Well, there's lots of conversations about this right now, but the hope and what, we're going to go through a disruptive period, but certainly the hope is AI is going to let you be ultra productive in your role. C's the best answer here. All right, great job, gang. If you did get every one of those correct, you probably are ready for the exam. You could go take it and have pretty good confidence that you're going to pass. If you got even one of those incorrect or you struggled a bit on a couple of the answers, let me know down in the comments so I can make another video. We definitely need to do a bit more studying together. But either way, hit like, hit subscribe. I don't want to miss you on the next episode of Code with Feeser.